Point perspective. For some, it's like going straight to the point. For others, it's like drawing a circle. But in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to draw in 1 point and 2 point perspective. So first up is the 1 point perspective. With 1 point perspective, your shapes and objects disappear to, as the name suggests, 1 point. So you draw in a horizon line, which I put in the middle of the page, but it can really be anywhere. And basically, by the time the side lines of those shapes reach the horizon line, they should disappear. You guys will see what I mean. For this first example, I'm just going to do the basic things with basic shapes. So the 3 shapes I'm going to be using is a circle, a square / rectangle, and also a triangle. So once you have your horizon line and the disappearing point / the 1 point, you're going to want to draw your shape / object in the basic 2D form. So I have the square and the triangle already drawn out here, and right now I am drawing the circle. The way that I draw my circles for technical drawing is that I draw a basic square and then I mark out the center of each side, and I just sort of freehand the circle in. This just makes the circle a bit more neater once you get the hang of it, and also just a bit more accurate, especially with technical drawing. I put this first set of shapes under the horizon line because these shapes are gonna disappear upwards to the disappearing point, but I will also be doing a second set of shapes above the horizon line because they will be disappearing down towards the horizon point. So now that I have the basic shapes drawn in, I will be adding the lines that go towards the point. So the way you do this is that for a simple shape like the squares and the triangles, you basically put your ruler at the corner, at one of the corners and line it up with the disappearing point, and you basically draw in the lines that you can see. So for this top square over there, I just did the 2 bottom corners because you won't be able to see the 2 top corners. And you can see that I just shortened it by adding a horizontal line to make it a cube. So yeah, and you're basically going to do that with all your shapes. With the triangle, to make it a cube triangle, like to make it a 3D shape, you have to line up your ruler with the edge that you're going to see and just push it back a bit before you start erasing. So as you will see with the top triangle, I did all 3 corners because you'll be able to see like the 2 sides, and you'll need all 3 corners to go towards the disappearing point. And likewise, like the bottom triangle, I also just used my ruler and lined up everything to make it a 3D shape. So next up is the circle. With the circle, I just line up the disappearing point with the edge of the circle. So as you can see, it goes like that. And once like that's drawn in, to make it a 3D shape, I just sort of freehand the back curve of that circle and just clean it up a little bit and make it look nicer or a bit more realistic. So typically the 1 point drawing method is used to visualize rooms such as living areas or even just the streets. For 2 point, it's normally used for large objects such as maybe like a bookcase or something. There's also a 3 point drawing method which I have not learnt yet, but it's basically a way for people to visualize looking down onto something. So maybe like looking down at a street intersection. While I did list out like what these drawing techniques are used for, there's no reason for anyone to not be creative and use these techniques in an unconventional way. So yeah, just get creative, and like as long as you know the basic rules, you should be able to do it correctly. So now onto the more complicated 1 point drawing, which I will be doing a 1 point room. So basically how I set this up is that I go in and frame the page 1 centimeter from each edge, and then I basically draw a giant X through the middle. So the lines for the X go from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, and then the top right corner to the bottom left corner. This will basically draw in the corners of the room and will also give you the disappearing point in the middle. So once you have the corners of the room set up, you're gonna draw a smaller rectangle towards closer to the disappearing point, and this will basically give you the back wall of the room. And as you can see, I'm just making sure that all the lines match up, and also I'm just gonna erase like the corner lines to the disappearing point, just so then that wall is clear. So for this 1-point drawing, I'm just keeping it really simple. I'm only including a window, bed and desk. So for the bed, I'm putting it up against the left wall and towards the front a little bit. For the desk, I am putting it fully up against the back wall. And for the window, I'm just making it a window that goes across the back wall and the left wall. So first things first, I'm starting off with the bed. What I do when I'm drawing in 1-point and I need to do a 3D object is that I will mark it out like so on the floor, and then just extend that shape upwards. And basically you want to keep all your lines either vertical, horizontal, or to the point. And so as you can see, I'm just like measuring and making sure that things line up. With drawing in 1-point perspective, sometimes you will be drawing in things that won't be able to be seen in the end, or will be erased completely. So for the bed in this instance, I drew in the back legs, and then I ended up just erasing it because you basically can't see them in the end. If you're wondering, the purpose of drawing things where you're not going to be able to see them in the end is to just give you a guide of to where your other lines go and how they're meant to look. So as you can see, the desk is towards the back of the room, and that just makes it really annoying to draw it in because it is gonna be quite small. So I do recommend using a smaller sized pencil. Here I'm using an 0.7 pencil, which sort of cuts it, but maybe try an 0.5 if you think it's a bit too thick. So next up is 2-point perspective. So like with 1-point perspective, you put in the horizon line and you put in the 2 disappearing points. Typically these disappearing points are put to the left and the right, but there's no saying that you can't do anything else. I'm just putting in 3 vertical lines, one in the middle of the horizon line, one underneath and one above, because these will create the sort of example squares that I'm gonna do. And so basically, the 1-point perspective, you're basically gonna connect each corner to a disappearing point. Typically the lines on the left of the center line will go to the left, and the ones on the right will go to the right. 2-point perspective is intended to give you a view of an object or something from the side angle, which means the top and bottom square slash cube will be showing the top and bottom sides, which means you sort of have to judge where to cut off the actual square and just draw it in by eye. Now on to the more detailed 2-point drawing. For this one, I'm just doing a really simple bookshelf. So like with the example drawing, I'm just putting in the horizon line and the 2 disappearing points. And I'm just gonna draw it in by hand. Do I use measurements with this sort of thing? Sort of. Sometimes you just gotta use your eye and proportions rather than going by measurements. I didn't mention this when I was going through the example 2-point, but if you're gonna do a circle or something curved, then definitely use the method that I used in the 1-point, where you use the where you draw in a base square and then you mark out the middle of each side and draw in the circle. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video and have gotten a grasp on like 1-point and 2-point perspective. If you're in design school or like in high school doing a design class, give this video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you want to, and share this video with anyone who you think might need it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!